Hello friends and welcome back to my channel Avid Readers. I'm extremely sorry for not uploading any new videos on my channel. Well, I will try to be more consistent from now on. By the way, I have started wearing specs. Today I have got a book summary on one of the popular book children of my age would like to read. So, let's start the video on this book, shall we? This is a book called Matilda, written by a well-renowned author whose name is Roald Dahl. First, let us talk about the author. This author is famous for books like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Best Friend Giant, The Witches, and many more. Most of his books have been turned into movies. He is famous for his unique style of writing kids' books and was overall a very nice person. Now, let us talk about the book. This book is a fictional fantasy, which is a roller coaster of feelings and has many plot twists. The story starts with an introduction to the protagonist of this story, a 4-year-old named Matilda. Who has the potential of a genius. She had achieved stuff like knowing the amount of words adults know by the age of 2, learning to read actual newspapers by the age of 3, and many more. And you would think that her parents acknowledged her for this. Then you would be wrong, because instead of that, they just called her a noisy chatterbox. She was an avid reader, much like us. But her parents were very nice to her 10-year-old brother, named Michael, who was a pretty average kid. For them, being biased to her brother was very obvious. Now, Matilda wanted to read some interesting books instead of the one cooking book which belonged to her mom. So, she intuitively went to her pops and asked him whether she could get a book. But instead of buying her a book, he rudely declined and instead compelled on her watching the television. Apparently, she was being ungrateful. Later that day, when she was home alone, she walked to her local library and asked the librarian, Mrs. Phelps, to recommend her a book. The plump woman was wonderstruck by a 4-year-old coming to read books at a library. But anyways, she gave Matilda some books. Matilda happily read a book and left. Now, going to the library was a part of Matilda's schedule. In a span of a few weeks, the young genius had completed all of the children's books in the library and had already started books for grown-ups. By the time she had completed a book called Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, she had fallen in love with reading books. And after that, the sky was the limit for Matilda. In a short span of 6 months, she had completed notable books like Oliver Twist, Nicholas Nickleby, Pride and Prejudice, and 11 more. After some days, Matilda started to bring the books home as Mrs. Phelps found it unsafe for her to stay out of the house at such a young age. Her father had a sketchy business of selling second-hand cars. He once even admitted that he mixed sawdust with the oil so he could save money. He explained this to Michael and it seemed he was interested in his father's ways of crookery. Later that night, when Matilda asked that could she read a book while having dinner, her father rudely declined. Now Matilda could not tolerate this. The next morning, just before when her father would leave for work, Matilda put some super glue inside the hat he wore. When he put the hat on his head, he could not get it off. When he came home, his wife tried to remove it, but she could not. He had a slight suspicion on Matilda, but did not express it. The next morning, Mom somehow cut the hat off his hair, but bits and pieces of the hat were still there on his head. Over the span of the next few days, Matilda pulled more pranks on her parents, like hiding a talking parrot in their house to look like there is a ghost in the house, and replacing her father's hair oil with platinum blonde hair color so he had the platinum blonde hair color on his hair. 1 year later, Matilda enrolled in a school. Most students enroll at the age of 5, but thanks to her parents, Matilda was 5.5 years old at that time. The name of her school was Trunchbull Primary School, which was a big brick building. The headmistress was a formidable lady named Ms Trunchbull. She was very tall and a gigantic woman who was very stringent. She had the reputation of giving severe punishments to students even if they made a small mistake. Their class teacher, Miss Honey, was a nice and quiet person. She could be described as having a lovely oval face and being very slim. Everyone in Matilda's class seemed to like her. In Matilda's first lecture, Miss Honey was teaching multiplication tables. Matilda performed brilliantly in the class. For instance, she could do multiplications like 14 into 19 and much more. So readers, I think that's it for this video. No, don't worry. The story doesn't end here. In the next part, we are going to see how Matilda gets into a fight with Mrs Trunchbull and gains a superpower. Spoiler alert, the main villain is Trunchbull and she is going to cause a lot of trouble, so stay tuned for that. So guys, like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel Avid Readers. And do tell me your favorite fantasy novel in the comment section below. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Bye bye.